Hi there, I am Wild Humphrey, the Fact Master. I'll tell you all the things you never knew you didn't know, and I'm back with a fact or two for today. And this is a story about England's most famous king. You know where I'm going. It's Henry VIII. And Henry was born on the 28th of June 1491. His parents were Henry VII and Elizabeth of York. And Henry wasn't actually heir to the throne. It was his older brother Arthur who was the guy in the chair. But Arthur died suddenly, which thrust Henry right into the limelight, and he was suddenly next in line. Then in 1509, 21st of April, his father passed away and Henry VIII became king that day, the 111th day of the year. Now Henry, when you think of him, you think of 6 wives, lots of people being beheaded, this king who was a tyrant. But what you don't really think of is battles, because Henry wasn't really that kind of a king. In fact, the most famous battle during Henry's reign was the Battle of Falkirk, and that took place on the 9th of September 1513, when England destroyed the Scots at Falkirk and killed the Scottish King James. The only thing was, Henry VIII wasn't there, because at the time he was over in France arguing with the French. It was his wife, Catherine of Aragon, who looked after this little battle, and she shone. She gave the right orders, sent the men in the right direction. Everyone did what they were supposed to do. The Scots were destroyed. England was safe. Now this was a bittersweet moment for Henry, because his wife had done what he'd never done. She'd fought a major battle and won it. And he was messing around in France, fighting with the French, wasting time and money. And he sort of liked the fact that England was safe again, but didn't quite like the fact that it was his wife who did it and not him. But that was just something he had to live with. Possibly one of the reasons why Catherine of Aragon was the first wife and not the last one. Anyway, Henry, as I say, was always arguing with the French, and then in 1520 he had this idea. He thought, well, you know what, I'm not really getting anywhere fighting the French. And we need to have some peace between the two countries. So what he did, he thought, right, I'm going to France. Went back to France, and this time wasn't for any fighting or wars or anything. He set up this camp. And when I say camp, this was a monster of a camp. It looked like there were castles suddenly appeared. And what he'd done, he'd invited the French king, Francis I, to meet him with all of his people. And they had one party, like you wouldn't believe. It lasted over 2 weeks, this party. And he built all kinds of things, Henry. He lived his life, and when he wanted something, he just created it. He'd just have it built, have it made, have it drawn, whatever. He'd just have it done. And this became known, this party, as the Fields of the Cloth of Gold. And they were there to celebrate what was called the Treaty of London, which was a new friendship between the English and the French. Just how long that would last would be another matter. But at this time, they got on famously. There was jousting, parties, tons of food, and of course, plenty of alcohol. At the end of it all, this village that had been created, the Fields of the Cloth of Gold, disappeared. Henry came back to England, put his piece up. Thank you very much. England and France were at peace, and Henry can concentrate on his own country. His wife, however, well, that was another story. He wanted rid of her because she still hadn't given him a son. And that was all he wanted more than anything. So he had 5 wives after Catherine. Anne Boleyn was his wife number 2. He chopped her head off. Wife number 3 was Jane Seymour. She gave him his son that he wanted, Edward. But Jane died 2 weeks after giving birth to Edward. So Henry then turned his attention to a woman he'd never met, didn't know, never seen. Met her on his wedding day, couldn't stand the sight of her, but still married her. Anne of Cleves. 5th wife was Catherine Howard, because Anne didn't last more than a day. Catherine Howard was much, much, much younger than Henry, by about 30 years or so. And she ended up also losing her head. 6th wife outlived him, Catherine Parr. Henry himself lived until the 28th of January, 1547. And his son Edward became Edward VI. But the day Henry died, 28th of January, 1547, what was significant? His father, Henry VII, was born on the 28th of January, 1457. And that is a fact. So that's just a little story for you. Henry VIII, the Fields of the Cloth of Gold. Battle of Falkirk took place without him. 6 wives, his son Edward, the end of Henry, but the Tudors had a couple more still to go. Famously, Bloody Mary, and of course, Elizabeth I. And that is a fact. Thrown in there somewhere between Edward VI and Mary, Bloody Mary, was the 9-day Queen, Lady Jane Grey, who, like many others, had her head chopped off. But that was nothing to do with Henry. That was all down to Mary. And that is a fact. So, the Fields of the Cloth of Gold is worth looking up. That's a fact. I'm Wild Humphrey. Thanks very much for watching. Tune in again. Please subscribe to my channel. And I'll be back with loads more stuff to share with you. In the meantime, take it easy. I'll see you soon. Cheers.